What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now today, like promised, we're continuing work on the Ranger. So this beauty behind me, as you can see, we got it sitting up on stilts. This took quite a bit of time to actually do, but I needed it in some sort of way where we can get the axle in and out, get 4-link tabs built, and then actually be able to build our front 4-link mounts so we can continue on and finish the 4-links on this truck. So I've been working away on it for a little bit already. Just wanted to get everything done, but let me show you what we got. So I went ahead, I did some calculations going off of our 4-link design. Now I needed something, so I had to do some measurements here. As you can tell, we got some going on. But what had to happen is, so center line of our axle to where our heim joint mounts, we had to be 10.75 inches. So, of course, you can see our tabs. These are 5 inches. 375 to the center line. That gets us this, right? Just a piece of plate. I believe that's 3/16 or quarter. It'll be plenty strong enough for what we're doing. But so going on what I was saying here, so from this center line here to the center line of this heim joint, that's 10.75 inches. That's what we needed. So we have 7 inches to the top of our truss, as you guys can see there. But yeah, so these are our tabs. I went ahead, I did these, welded them out. They actually look really good. I'm super happy with this little ESAB welder that I'm borrowing. Just a little MIGmaster 210. But here we go. So you can see we got some lines here, right? So I had to be a 20-degree angle or 19 point whatever. So that's off the center line to there, or the center line to here. So that's the way our heim joint needs to like sit neutral. So I went ahead, I got that digital angle finder, I set it at 40 degrees, centered it, and marked it. And now all we're using those is a reference line. So I was then able to kind of set these into place, eyeball them, of course, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day because our heim joints can travel. So even if this one's sitting like a quarter degree off, it's not going to care. Because that's why we have the misalignment joints and whatever. So yes, we're going to go in, we're going to box these, we're going to stiffen them up. So don't worry, this is not the final. We're not just leaving them like that, but we have to finalize. We got to finalize the 4-links, make sure that our theory actually converts over and it'll work. So I got this axle done. I got to do the ones on that axle still. But we're going to work on the front first. I'm going to just get all the pieces built the same, because it's going to be identical from front to back, other than this front axle is going to have a little bit differences. So moving on, what we got to do on this is we got to actually build now brackets that'll mount here on the axle tube, come out somewhere around here, identical to this, but axle tube. This side's gonna be easy. This side over here, we got a little bit of cast that we're gonna have to fuck with. So we're either gonna have to notch out some of this, or we're just gonna have to work around it, which is probably what's gonna happen. So this will take some time on this side, but we'll get her done shortly, because that's where we gotta be. Here we go, we got our first set all finished up. So we got our two. The ones on the axle tube, they were a little trickier, but you know, we made them work. The one we ended up having to make it, I believe, 1/2 inch shorter than the other one, just to get us that 20-degree angle. You can kind of see my reference line, you know. This one not quite as good, but it's what we had to work with. So all in all, really happy with how they look. And then of course we will go in, we'll gusset all those, but we have to make sure that this is all going to be proper. So, alright guys, day 2 working on this, doing the 4 links. Let me show you where we're at. So we got our front axle into place. I don't know if I showed this or not, but we got our 4 link tabs done on those. We have that axle pretty much centered as best as we can get for right now. But we started working on our center. So went ahead, welded our cross tube in there. It does have a little bit of a bow just from welding. We'll get that straightened out because we still have supports we got to do in here. But we got our 4 links, our heim joints mounted on tabs. Turned out really well. So now all we got to do is we'll do our rears. Gonna get that to focus. So yeah, pretty simple. Went ahead, building tabs somewhat like this. So one thing, of course, because we got to be on that 40-degree open center between links, or a 20-degree angle in each bar. These tabs have to actually be different lengths. So you have your inside and then you have your outside. Or no, your outside and then your inside, because the outside's got to be shorter. So it's about an inch difference is what we figured out. That gives us our 20-degree angle, and that's being the width that we are with our heim joint and bolts. So a little bit of math that we had to do to get that right. Now of course that 20-degree angle, that's a reference because our links are going to be 20 degrees. So we just have to have, you know, we kind of want our 4 link to be centered. We don't want to be really obscure on our heim joint. So at the end of the day, it's a reference line. It doesn't have to be 100% exact, but the better you are, see, so that's where our bars are going to travel, and you can kind of see that looking forward. So they'll be in the center of the travel, so we have the most out of our heim joints throughout the suspension travel. Now I have measured the bottoms. I'm going to build the top mounts, and then we're actually going to be building, or cutting tube and welding links today. Hopefully get the front figured out. Plus, I'm going to go ahead and do the rear. Just because I'm already here, I got all these done. So we're going to get this cradle done. And then we're going to get our other link points done. They're going to end up having to be somewhere here. So that's going to take a little bit. But enough of me talking, back to work. Well guys, I'm happy to say we're making huge progress. Took me a little bit. But we finally have the front 4 links complete. So check this out. Kind of hard to get the full picture at this point just because we do have our stands in place. Now I got a ratchet strap holding the front end up just to keep weight on the nose so it's safer while I'm working on the rear. But there we go. Now the cool thing about this is you want your 4 link bars to be as close as possible, and that's with the theory that we've came up with. So in plane, or like in a 2D plane, they're the same length. In, you know, 3-dimensional world, or what we see here, we're actually only an inch difference between both bars. So that's kind of cool. Just how close it actually was to what we, you know, created on a 3D print, or on 2D prints, and then what we're able to come up with. So don't look at this and go, oh, why didn't you do it somewhere else? It's like this is all engineered correctly. So I had to replicate on the paper what you see here. So really cool. I'm blown away at how good this actually turned out, and like all our measurements ended up just perfect. Now the way you're seeing this sit, this is in like almost full droop. So that top link bar, that has to be flat, and that's going to be our ride height. So this thing's going to sit a lot taller than you see it. And then I measured it out. So when we have our top link bar hit this frame rail, we're 3 inches or 2 3/4 inches from here to the bottom of the frame. So that's perfect. Once we mount bump stops in, it'll be just on the money. So super happy with how this all turned out. Now yes, we do have gusseting and all that other stuff to go through, but next time you guys see this, we'll have the back done. I'll get to work. Well guys, we have the 4-link pretty much all done, all tacked up. We still have a lot of welding to do. I'm just about out of gas for the welder, so I'll do that between now and next time I film an episode and catch up on where we're at. And of course we're gonna have to gusset and do a bunch of other little things like I've said, so you'll see that in a bunch of other videos. But without further ado, what do you guys think? So I went ahead, I threw the 37s. Now these are on my 17 Super Duty, so they're 37 13.5 on a 20-inch wheel. These are the wheels we're gonna use. We're just going to a 46 by, I think, 16. So these are a 13.5 wide, just for reference. Look at that profile on the side. So think another 3 inches of tire sitting out. So she's gonna be meaty. Now, a lot has gone through this. We're about ride height. If you look, we're about ride height. We still got links. Our links are still pointed downwards, so there is a little bit. We do have 21 inches from the center of there to the dirt, so that is ground clearance at this point. But you got to add another 5 inches from tires. Plus, we're probably a good 2-3 inches more for our links to be flat. So this thing's gonna sit really tall. To the top of the cab, it is 80 inches, almost 7 feet. I'm like 5'11", 6 feet, something like that. So she's big. But I couldn't make you guys wait till I did the fenders and the tires just to make it look how good it is. But yeah, the 4 links are all done. So they're identical front to back. That's the way I decided to do this. Now yes, you know, there's a lot of anti-squat values or anti-dive or whatever, but we don't know how this is going to work. I don't know what kind of weight with the engine, the seating position. So down the road we might change some things. It's not very hard to do. Whatever, build a couple more mounts, or you know, we'll just leave it the way it is, and then maybe the next project, if we ever do one, then we'll change them. But this is a pretty generic setup, so I feel like it's going to work really well with the numbers that we came up with and used. So yeah, enough of this. Thanks for watching this video if you made it this far, and make sure to subscribe and leave a like, leave a comment down below. But for the people that have been thinking, hey, this project is dead, it is not dead. It is ramping up now. You will see a lot more content with this because I really want to get it done. So see you next time.